Today we are talking about very important news that could change how millions of Americans get help with food. This is about SNAP benefits, also called food stamps, and big changes happening right now in October 2025. If you depend on SNAP, or if you receive SSI, SSDI, or VA benefits, you need to pay close attention because these updates could affect your monthly support and your ability to buy groceries. Before we go any further, I want to remind you about something important. Every single day, I bring you the latest updates on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, VA payments, and SNAP benefits. I explain everything in clear, simple language so you never miss important information about your money. If you want to stay updated on payment dates, new rules, and surprise changes, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. The next video could be about your benefits, so make sure you see it first. Subscribe now and stay informed. SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It is a federal program that helps low-income families, elderly people, and individuals with disabilities buy food each month. The benefits are loaded onto an EBT card that works just like a debit card at grocery stores and farmers markets. For millions of Americans, SNAP is not just helpful, it is essential for survival. It is often the difference between having food on the table or going hungry. But October 2025 marks a turning point. The federal government is implementing major changes to SNAP rules through a new law called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. This law was passed earlier this year, and now in October, many of its provisions are taking effect. These changes impact who qualifies for SNAP, how long benefits last, and what requirements people must meet to keep receiving help. One of the most significant changes involves work requirements for a specific group of people. The government uses a term called ABAWDs, which stands for Able-Bodied Adults Without Dependents. This refers to adults who are within a certain age range, do not have children relying on them, and do not have an official disability. Under previous rules, these adults could receive SNAP for only 3 months within a 3-year period unless they were working or participating in a qualifying job training program. However, there were many exemptions. People over age 50, those caring for young children, and those with certain health conditions were often exempt from these strict time limits. Starting this October, those exemptions are shrinking. The new rules require more people to meet work requirements, and fewer people will automatically qualify for exemptions. This means if you are an adult without a disability, without young children, and you are not working at least 80 hours per month, your SNAP benefits could end after just 3 months. No extensions. No exceptions unless you meet very specific criteria. Another major shift involves age limits. Previously, adults aged 50 and older were generally exempt from work requirements. The thinking was that people in their 50s often face health challenges that make full-time work difficult, even if they do not have an official disability diagnosis. Now, that age exemption is being raised. This means adults between 50 and roughly 60 years old may no longer be automatically protected. They will be expected to work 80 hours per month or participate in approved work programs to maintain their benefits. This change is particularly harsh because many people in this age group face real barriers to employment. They may have chronic pain, limited mobility, or other health issues that are not severe enough to qualify for disability benefits, but still make working extremely difficult. The new rules also affect people who take care of children. Under the old system, if you were caring for a child under 18, you were typically exempt from work requirements. Now, in many states, that age cutoff is being lowered. If your child is 15, 16, or 17 years old, you may no longer qualify for the caregiver exemption. This creates serious problems for single parents and guardians. Even though teenagers still need supervision, support, and care, the government is saying that is not enough reason to be exempt from work rules. Many of these caregivers are already juggling school schedules, medical appointments, transportation challenges, and limited childcare options. Adding a mandatory 80-hour work requirement on top of that can be overwhelming or even impossible. For military veterans, there is troubling news as well. In the past, some veterans were automatically exempt from SNAP work requirements as recognition for their service. But under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, those veteran exemptions have been largely eliminated. Now, veterans who do not have dependents and who are not receiving VA disability payments may be subject to the same work requirements as everyone else. This means younger veterans without children must work 80 hours per month or risk losing their food assistance after 3 months. Many veterans find this deeply unfair. They served their country, often at great personal cost, and now they face stricter rules just to get help buying groceries. If you are currently receiving SSI or SSDI because you have an official disability determination, you are generally exempt from these work requirements. The new rules recognize that people with disabilities should not be forced to meet work quotas they cannot physically or mentally fulfill. So in that sense, if you are on disability benefits, you are somewhat protected. However, that does not mean you are completely unaffected. There are other changes in the law that could still impact you. First, the way SNAP benefit amounts are calculated is changing. SNAP benefits are based on something called the Thrifty Food Plan, which is supposed to estimate the cost of a nutritious diet. In the past, this plan could be updated when food prices increased, which meant benefits could go up to match inflation. But now, the law requires that any updates to the Thrifty Food Plan must be cost neutral. In plain language, that means your SNAP benefits cannot increase unless the government cuts costs somewhere else in the program. So even if milk, eggs, bread, and meat get more expensive, your monthly benefit amount may stay the same. Over time, this means your SNAP dollars will not stretch as far at the grocery store. Another change involves how states administer SNAP programs. States are now being held more accountable for errors in their SNAP systems. If a state has too many mistakes or pays out benefits incorrectly, that state will have to cover more of the costs. Because of this, many states are tightening their verification processes. They are asking for more documents, more proof of income, more proof of residency, and more detailed information about household members. If you receive SSI, SSDI, or VA benefits, you may notice that your SNAP caseworker is asking for additional paperwork that was not required before. You may be asked to resubmit documents more frequently or attend more interviews. While this is meant to reduce fraud and errors, it also makes the process more stressful and confusing, especially for elderly individuals, people with cognitive disabilities, or those who have limited access to transportation or internet. The new law also eliminates funding for SNAP nutrition education programs. These programs used to help beneficiaries learn how to budget for groceries, plan healthy meals, and make the most of their food benefits. Now that funding is gone. This means less support for people who want to eat healthier or learn how to stretch their benefits further. Let us imagine some real-life situations to understand how these changes play out. Think about someone who is 52 years old, living alone, dealing with arthritis and high blood pressure. Under the old rules, this person was exempt from work requirements because of age. But now, they must either prove they cannot work or find a way to work 80 hours per month. If they cannot do that, their SNAP will stop after 3 months. This person now faces an impossible choice between protecting their health and losing their food assistance. Or consider a veteran who returned from service a few years ago. This person does not have children and does not receive VA disability payments, but does work part-time, earning just enough to stay afloat. Before, veterans had some protections. Now, if this person does not meet the 80-hour work requirement or join a training program, SNAP benefits could be cut off. After serving the country, this individual now faces stricter rules than before just to eat. Then think about someone who is 60 years old and receives SSDI. Because of the official disability status, this person is still exempt from work requirements and will continue receiving SNAP. However, over the past year, grocery prices have increased significantly, and because benefits will not rise to match inflation, this person feels more financial pressure every month. The same benefit amount buys less food than it did a year ago. These examples show that the new rules create different hardships for different people. Some lose benefits entirely, others keep benefits but struggle more with rising costs, and many face increased stress from paperwork and bureaucracy. The government says these changes are necessary to reduce spending, prevent fraud, and encourage people to work. Supporters of the law argue that SNAP should be a temporary safety net, not a long-term solution, especially for adults who are physically capable of working. Critics strongly disagree. They argue that these changes hurt the most vulnerable people in society, including older adults, low-wage workers, caregivers, and veterans. They warn that the new rules will increase hunger, worsen poverty, and push people into desperate situations. They also point out that many people who are classified as able-bodied actually face serious barriers to work, such as mental health issues, lack of transportation, limited job opportunities, or caregiving responsibilities that are not officially recognized. If you are receiving SSI, SSDI, or VA disability benefits, the most important thing you can do is make sure your disability status is clearly documented in the SNAP system. If you receive any letters from your SNAP office asking you to participate in work programs or verify your work hours, contact your caseworker immediately. Provide proof of your disability benefits and make sure they understand you are exempt. Do not ignore any letters or notices. Missing a deadline could result in losing your benefits, even if you should be exempt. Keep copies of all paperwork, and if possible, get confirmation in writing that your exemption is on file. Even if you are protected from work requirements, you should start budgeting more carefully. Since benefits may not keep up with food price increases, you may need to stretch your dollars further. Look into local food banks, church pantries, and community meal programs. Many of these organizations are expanding their services because they know more people will need help in the coming months. Also, check with your state SNAP office to see how these federal changes are being implemented in your area. While the law is the same nationwide, states sometimes have a little flexibility in how they apply the rules. Your state may offer additional support or have slightly different procedures. These SNAP changes are part of a larger national conversation about poverty, government spending, and the social safety net. It is not just about food stamps. It is about what kind of country we want to be and how we take care of people who are struggling. For some, it is about personal responsibility and reducing dependency. For others, it is about compassion and ensuring that everyone has access to basic necessities like food. No matter where you stand on the issue, the reality is that millions of Americans will be affected by these changes. Some will lose the only help they have. Others will worry about the future as benefits fail to keep up with costs. Many will feel stress and uncertainty about how they will feed themselves and their families. To wrap up, October 2025 brings major changes to SNAP. If you are an able-bodied adult without dependents, you now face stricter work requirements and could lose benefits after 3 months if you do not work enough hours. If you are between 50 and 60, you may lose age-based exemptions you had before. If you are a caregiver or veteran, some of your protections may be gone. If you are on SSI, SSDI, or VA disability, you are mostly protected from work requirements, but you may struggle with benefits that do not keep up with rising food prices. And everyone may face more paperwork, more verification requests, and less educational support.